Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn, and today we are checking out Dune Spice Wars. Now, this one I think a lot of came as a little bit of a surprise. So Dune Spice Wars obviously is set in the world and universe of Doom, and it's an RTS game. And it's been in early access for a while, and then they're like, yep, 1.0 now, which always feels a little strange, right? When you got a game that's been in early access for a long time, and then it just randomly decides that it's out now, that raises some questions of why are you actually done, or did you just decide that you're done? Did you achieve what you wanted to get to 1.0? Because there's been other games that have done this, and some of them were on different sides of that category, right? Games that just declared 1.0 and everyone was like, sure, was Factorio, right? Factorio was like, yep, we're done, and everyone was like, sure. The game's been feeling pretty done for a while, but yeah, sure, you're done now. And then there's been some other games that they were like, it's not done. I just feel like you're trying to get some extra sales out of launch, but I won't call those games out. And I'll drop Factorio because that was a positive one, right? And so we're kind of on the fence of where we're sitting with Dune Spice Wars, but that's not completely what we're here to talk about. So instead, we're here to actually just take a good look at the game. So we got a handful of trailers, and we're going to go back to the original and then work our way to the most latest, which was the 1.0 announcement, and we'll go from there. So, let's get started. So this initial announcement trailer is from December 9th of 2021. It's ultra wide. There's not there's not an option to ignore it.
Death trap in all history, and the Duke's headed into its jaws.
On Caladan, we ruled with air and sea power. Here, we must scrabble for desert power.
Move slowly, and the day of your revenge will come.
This is your inheritance.
Speed is a device of Shaitan.
Thus, there will always be a desert on Arrakis.
Thing that
What is to become of the
Baron Vladimir Harkonnen
If
do?
anything happens to me,
And tries to cover
Your
it.
enemy was overwhelming,
you'll not be alone.
yet you ruled with him.
We Fremen have a saying. God created Arrakis to train the faithful.
Arrakis.
To hold Arrakis, you're faced with
Arrakis is our enemy.
This is my future.
This is my honor.
This is my vengeance. This is my doom.
So, admittedly, I know very, very, very little about Dune. I've not read the books. I've not watched the recent show. I know very little about it. I know that they are on this planet. The planet's a desert. They want some particular resource called spice. I don't know why they want spice. I don't know if it's a fuel source or if it's drugs or what. And that's the idea here, right? Although I will say, I know that this is a picture of I don't think this is meant to be very representative, but I'm just really curious because this city initially looks really big, and then there's this giant fucking sandworm looking thing, which is cool, right? But can we just take a moment to address how big this is compared to this city? Why do you think you're safe over there? This could destroy the whole city in a minute or two. Is this cool? Is this kosher? Is that all right? Anyway, don't mind me. Here's the first gameplay trailer. This was a few months later, February of 2022. And a more normal aspect ratio.
This is Arrakis, a world of sand and death, brimming with terrible dangers, only matched by the resources and secrets it holds. Of these resources, none is more precious and coveted than the spice. But whatever you hope you'll find here, you cannot be prepared for what's waiting for you. First, you'll need to survive. Then, try to understand the land. Rally local villages or force them into submission. Use them as outposts to develop your infrastructure. And set up the vital spice harvesting process. Then build a solid foothold to start your conquest.
Is it like Age of Empires?
To fight to defend what
Like
you
I'm looking at
have
like the border
and take
areas,
what you
right?
need. Or rely on your cunning to achieve your goals through the arts of subterfuge, politics, or diplomacy.
Arrakis
Wow.
is mine.
But no matter who you conquer, manipulate, or destroy, you will never truly control.
You all are not running fast enough. It is 4X. Okay. I'm like, initially I thought it was more along the lines of like straight RTS, right? And it is apparently not. It's definitely much more 4X, leaning in the space of like Civilization or Stellaris kind of space. Those are a little bit more focused on the non-RTS side of things in my opinion. So maybe like Hearts of Iron, I guess, maybe might be a closer comparison. Feel free to present your own. So here's the early access launch trailer from April of 2022.
The board is set. The native Fremen dream of creating a green Arrakis, while the Baron Harkonnen wants to paint it red. The noble Atreides, bound by the whims of the Emperor, are blinded by their honor. Their quest to control Dune's precious resources while learning to survive its punishing sun distracts them from those who lurk in the
How do you
shadows.
terraform a desert planet? Like they were talking about wanting to turn it green.
Smugglers.
How does that work?
Who above all desire profit by turning the tables. The board is set. The spice war begins.
This is the multiplayer trailer. They really haven't broke down game mechanics much, have they?
The board is set.
A triumphant return? Return to what?
The
Return
native
from
Fremen
what?
dream of creating a green Arrakis, while the Baron Harkonnen wants to paint it red. Smugglers who above all desire profit by turning the tables. The noble Atreides, bound by the whims of the Emperor, are blinded by their honor. The board is set. The Spice War begins.
Is this the Dune video game you've been dreaming of? I feel like, what is it, Dune Awakening is probably more trying to be the Dune video game that a lot of people have been dreaming of. Also, that was supposed to be the multiplayer trailer? You didn't show us shit. Oh, it just now has multiplayer. That's the whole announcement. Basically the same trailer as this one, but made 30 seconds shorter and just being like, yo, you can play with your friends now. All right, here's the House Carino update from September of last year.
When my father, the Emperor of the known universe, learned of the turmoil upon Arrakis,
Thought it was pronounced
he was left
Arrakis.
with little choice but to intervene. If his terrifying legion of Saud-al-Kar, who strike fear into even the most formidable of warriors, advanced technology, devastating weaponry, and unrivaled power was not enough to restore peace on this most coveted of planets.
Who's burning who in that?
All hope would be lost for these supposed great houses.
Did you just land a
If anyone
building?
were to threaten my father's rule over the Imperium, then he would make sure that there would be no escape. And we would all pay for the violence of our ancestors.
Make it worth my time.
That was so informative. So I also want to point out that was September of 2022. The next trailer we're about to watch is the 1.0 release announcement from August of 2023. So almost a full year. Now this is all off of their YouTube page. Now this is the publisher's YouTube page. So I'm going to also just real quick for the sake of like the weirdness of going to this 1.0. Now there might be a better forum for this information, but there is not. I'm not missing anything here, okay? Like, here's an Air and Sand update. That's from 9 months ago, so I guess that would have been slightly more recent. But there is just this huge break in time between House Carino update 11 months ago, 1.0 release announcement trailer 2 weeks ago. And I don't know if they've been, like, really communicative on the Steam page or something like that, but it's very odd, and I think they also feel why that it's odd. I feel like other people think it's odd because currently recent reviews are 58% mixed. Why is the Emperor's daughter narrating the trailer? I don't know. She also doesn't know the name of the planet, so whatever. Anyway, here's the 1.0 announcement trailer. Here you go. Then we'll dig some more into the Steam page.
How seductive it is to live in peace.
Daughter's back.
There could have been a bloodless Arrakis. The steady hand of my Duke, governing a confident workforce. A plentiful House Atreides, providing for the whole Imperium. A brilliant society, gracefully withstanding the red winds of this land. But we were not sent here to thrive. Plotters will infest this benevolent regime, and blood will be spilled. Rivals will surround this prosperous house, and violence will ensue. Unknown forces will emerge from this bountiful land, and there will be no respite. To live in peace is a privilege of the weak, and as our strength culminates, a new age of turmoil approaches. On this day begin the Spice Wars.
I'm also going to say we've watched over 600 trailers now. No, that's not the right way to phrase that. We've done over 600 videos exactly like this one now. We've looked at a shitload of video games, okay? And it does not inspire a ton of confidence when you do not explain your game at all in your trailers. Like, you said it's a 4K game. Here's the thing. These trailers, they don't have to be built for, like, TV anymore. This isn't like 1997, where the reason that Final Fantasy VII reached such critical acclaim is because they essentially misled people with their really impressive CG visuals, right? A whole bunch of those initial trailers for Final Fantasy VII were the pre-rendered cutscenes and the battle models and not the overworld models and stuff, right? And so, and they were made for TV trailers. We don't do that anymore. Like, you get ads at the beginning of your YouTube videos. You get ads slotted into like your Netflix and shit. And also with the option and ability of things always being available through YouTube or Twitter or whatever, right? Like, if you don't explain your game when you have very little reason not to, it raises a lot of questions. All right, let's take a look in here. All right, so one, the game is currently available for $29.99. It's going to exit early access on the 14th. It doesn't say right off the hand if it's going to go up in price, but we can also recent events and announcement. Let's see how communicative they've been on their Steam page. So there's the 1.0 announcement, August update, July update, June update. Okay, so they offered an update every month. Okay, so that's at least a little bit. Let's see what people are saying in these reviews, because these reviews have come out since, relatively speaking, since they announced that it's 1.0. Let's see. What does this say? Not only are the sands of Dunes treacherous, sadly some EA developers are the same. EA as an early access, not Electronic Arts. After being in early access now for a good year, they now release the game into a wild version 1.0. Despite the promises of implementing a full story single player campaign, there is nothing of this sort included. Or as some of the devs like to point out, they included some skirmish maps in a conquest mode and called it a campaign. Over all the time they just worked on their skirmishes, which you obviously can or will be able to play in multiplayer, and added some new faction which no one knows about, lackluster diplomacy, and tech tree round this worthy accomplishment up. False advertisement if I have ever seen one. I feel like they hope the name will sell the game good enough. I think that's a good point, Herfuxic. I think you might be correct. What else do we have in here? This one's really long. This one looks like it's actually talking about the implementation of the story. That one. Okay, what else is in here? This is a positive one. A 4X that you a 4X that you can play in less than 3 hours in multiplayer. Yes, and the way they managed to set all those cool gameplay features over cool lore events is really clever. It's good because it's a Dune RTS, not an RTS wearing a Dune skin. All right. What else do we got in here? 130 hours. There's plenty of people that have played a lot of this game. Pros, it's a multi-layered approach to a rich franchise. They've only focused on a single aspect. This game offers diplomacy and politics to a varying extent. Cons, since there are multiple aspects to the system involved, RTS is the focus, but not the only layer. None of them are quite as good as you would find in a game that focuses more heavily on a singular element. It's not StarCraft or Dune 2 or 2000 or Crusader Kings. So it does a lot of things, but it doesn't do any of them well. Is it rough? Yes. Is it unpolished? Yes. It can be tedious. Okay. So it doesn't sound like it's that bad, but it does feel as though they just kind of decided that it was out, like we talked about earlier in the video. Seeing if there's anything else. That bigotry and misandry, that's an interesting one. I mean, unless you're saying that there's like, is this about the devs or is this about people in the game? Because, like, I'll tell you what, if I can get the right, like, if you're talking about, like, this dude, like, this big fat chode of a man, like, if he's a bigot and fucking misogynist, like, I'm not gonna be surprised. He clearly looks fucking evil. But, okay, captures the Dune experience and is a complex, interesting, and strategic game. All right, I mean, there's only a couple of these reviews that are actually, like, this is over a year old. I was looking for some of the more recent ones, but I mean, it looks like it could be fine if it's what you're looking for anyway. So yeah, that's Dune Spice Wars. Like, there's a couple of things about it that are eyebrow raising, but excuse you. There's a couple of things about it that are eyebrow raising, but it looks like it might be a good time if you're really invested into the franchise. But I wouldn't actually expect it to be a very immersive experience, just because I personally don't feel like a 4X strategy game can be a super immersive experience. And I think Dune Awakening, if that's the game that I think it is, could be a potentially more along the lines of what people are looking for in that aspect. But I do know that Dune fans are always hungry and they don't get fed very often or very well. So this at least exists as an option for them. But if you are or are not a Dune fan, I would love to hear from you. Put your thoughts down in the comments below. If you've been playing this in early access, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about the 1.0 just like kind of drop? Yeah, leave us everything. Let us know. Let's chat about it. Or find us on social media, Discord, Twitter, X, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram. Find us and let's talk. Links to everything down in the description below. Thanks, everybody. Also, this video is recorded live on stream because we do stream on Twitch 4 days a week, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. You can watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream. Thank you, and enjoy.